Coming up on Torrance today, LA County will not reimpose a universal indoor mask mandate. A group of 8-year-olds become Baseball World Series finalists, and grab a banh mi one last time at this Vietnamese shop before it closes for good. All this and more coming up right now on Torrance Today. Welcome to Torrance Today. I'm Christine Lee. It's 4 p.m. on Thursday, July 28th. Hard to believe we're wrapping up the last week of July. Thank you so much for joining us. Here is our first story. The LA County Public Health Department will not reimpose an indoor mask mandate. Public Health Director Dr. Barbara Ferrer says a decent decrease in cases and hospitalizations led to this decision. Yesterday, LA County reported more than 7,300 new COVID-19 cases, 20 new deaths, 1,280 hospitalizations, and a positivity rate of more than 16%. We were on the verge of having to mask up again starting tomorrow had the county's public health officials decided to implement a mandate, as we continue to be in the high transmission category as measured by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Today's announcement spreads a sense of relief to many cities in the county that have been opposing another mask mandate. A special group of 8-year-olds made history this month by making it to a Baseball World Series finals for the first time in 60 years. The Torrance American Baseball, or TAB, is a Pony League organization with more than 300 youth baseball players between the ages of 3 and 12. This effort is completely volunteer run, and top players from various age divisions 6 to 12 are selected to play in the Pony League All-Star tournaments. Team mom Lauren Fierro says their Red 8U All-Star team, which has 13 players ages 7 and 8, began their journey on Memorial Day weekend in a pool of more than 5,000 athletes, playing 32 games in 8 weeks. They achieved an overall record of 24-7-1. The Torrance group had to beat the #1 team in Southern California twice to get to the championship game, and they did it. From nearly 100 teams in SoCal, the top 3 went to San Jose earlier this month, and they were one of them. Although our team didn't win the entire World Series, they're still champions for making it so far, and they are now ranked the second best 8U team in the West. Congratulations to our Torrance American Boys Baseball 8U team. Moving on to a more serious matter. Do you know what to do if an active shooter is in your building? Torrance firefighters, police, and former council member Jack Walser will help answer that question at a free seminar tomorrow at the Salvation Army in Torrance.
They typically do have active shooter in the workplace, but this one is active shooter in safety in your house of worship. They have to have the conversation. Times have changed. Even though it's aimed at houses of worship, the reality is any organization, if it's the Lions, the Rotary, any group that gets together, have to give some thought. They have to have the conversation. What do you do to protect yourself, and what do you do in the event something happens? This will be presented by people from the Torrance Police Department who are very skilled and knowledgeable about active shooter situations. And hopefully people will gain more by it.
This training will also be offered via Zoom, so anyone can tune in if they're not in Torrance tomorrow. In addition to the presentations, there will be time for an open discussion and situational awareness exercises. The seminar prohibits any audio or video recording by attendees. The organizers really just want participants to learn how to stay safe and share those learnings with their congregations or other groups they belong to. The training begins at 4 p.m. tomorrow at 4223 Emerald Street. You can RSVP by emailing torrancecorps@usw.salvationarmy.org. If you're a fan of Vietnamese sandwiches called banh mi, I've got some sad news. I recently learned that the Little Shop of Mary, located at 2205 Torrance Boulevard, will be closing this weekend after 10 years. Its last day is this Saturday, July 30th. The small business is shutting its doors because Mama Tien, the owner, is retiring. Her shop was known for making a mix of authentic banh mi's along with fusion ones. All of the sandwiches are made to order, and she's grown quite a loyal customer base. The shop posted the update on its website, thanking the customers for their support over the past decade. They also shared that they'll be transitioning to something new in the near future. For updates, follow Little Shop of Mary on Facebook and Instagram. Well, if you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, you've got a lot of choices. Tomorrow and Saturday, Friends of the Torrance Public Library will hold its summer book sale. The event is open to the public and masks will be required. Movies in the park resumes this Saturday with a screening of Disney's Encanto at De Portola Park at 25615 Lazy Meadow Drive. The movie will begin at dusk, approximately 8 p.m., and admission is free. And Shakespeare by the Sea celebrates 25 years of touring Southern California with free shows this Saturday and Sunday at Wilson Park. If you're a fan about Much Ado About Nothing or Romeo and Juliet, grab a blanket, maybe even a picnic dinner, and get to the amphitheater by 7 p.m. As we head into the weekend, be sure to catch the latest episodes of Weekends in Torrance. On Friday, Seaside Community Church volunteers make one-of-a-kind dresses for little girls in Africa. Then, get inspired by a group of kid CEOs who are taking care of business during summer vacation. And on Sunday, meet a resident of 3290 Temporary Housing Village and learn about his journey to find permanent housing. All this and more beginning at 7 p.m. on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday right here on Torrance City Cable. The Biden administration launched a new website this week helping us deal with the summer heat. Heat.gov provides forecasts, maps, and health advice to help people and local governments navigate through the elevated temperatures. It also aids decision makers with clear, timely, and science-based information to understand and reduce the health risks of extreme heat. This website is made possible by efforts from the National Integrated Heat Health Information System. Officials hope it will provide a one-stop hub on heat and health for the nation. The website has been a priority for President Joe Biden's National Climate Task Force and its interagency working group on extreme heat. Extreme heat has been the greatest weather-related cause of death in the U.S. for the past 30 years, more than extreme cold, flooding, hurricanes, or tornadoes, killing more than 700 people a year. Knott's Berry Farm just expanded its weekend chaperone policy for minors, so you need to know these updates before your next trip to the theme park. Officials say the first weekend of its new policy was well received, and now they're enforcing the rules on Sundays as well, and may add even more days if needed. So, from Fridays to Sundays, all park goers 17 and younger need to be with a chaperone who is at least 21 years old. Each chaperone must have a valid photo ID that includes their date of birth, and one chaperone can only have up to 4 minors with them per day. The Code of Conduct says the chaperones must be with their party at all times and be available by phone throughout their stay. The new requirement applies to all Knott's Berry Farm and Knott's Soak City Water Park ticket and season pass holders. This policy was implemented a week after the park closed 3 hours early due to multiple fights that broke out. If you're planning to go to Knott's with a group of kids, be sure to check out the details of the new policy at knotts.com. JetBlue could become the 5th largest airline in the U.S. if its latest purchase agreement goes through. JetBlue agreed to buy Spirit Airlines for $3.8 billion. Yesterday's agreement comes a day after Spirit's attempt to merge with Frontier Airlines fell apart. JetBlue CEO Robin Hayes says this combination is an exciting opportunity to diversify and expand their network, add jobs and new possibilities for crew members, and expand their platform for profitable growth. The combined airline, which will be based in New York, would have more than 450 aircraft. The airlines will continue to operate independently until after the transaction closes. Federal authorities still have to approve this agreement, and industry experts say the deal could lead to higher fares across the industry. Still ahead, it's Thoughtful Thursday. We'll introduce you to a nonprofit that is on a mission to help kids feel loved during their most critical years. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
The judge. Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
At the end of every episode of Torrance Today, we want to share a positive story that fits the theme for the day. On this Thoughtful Thursday, I want to introduce you to a nonprofit that's all about helping our most vulnerable children, including those here in Torrance.
My name is Junior, 15. So I was in the system at a really young age, and then I had a lot of people walking in on my life so much times. The past couple of years have been really hard, I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't think, to be honest, I'd be here to this day. My Casa Sam, he just doesn't give up like other people. He's not out to get me. I don't know how else to put it.
One person can be the tipping point that can turn a life that goes in the direction of positive, or without that, like little nudge, can take the other direction.
I was put into a group home, and it's scary out there. When I met Latanya, she completely gave me a different perspective on life. And without her, I wouldn't be here today. She's my educational rights holder. She was that advocate for me as well. And that's the reason why I turned my straight Fs in sophomore year to straight A's in junior year.
These are just a couple of the more than 30,000 children who are in the child welfare system in LA County. CASA, which stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocate, motivates and activates volunteers from the community to speak up for children and families in the child welfare and juvenile justice systems. The nonprofit is based right here in LA and equips 1,100 volunteers to provide one-on-one care for as many of these children as possible.
They're coming there because they want to be there. They're not being paid. They're not being financially compensated in any way. Their motivation comes from a desire to give back, to come alongside, to give a child a voice.
Former council member Heidi Ashcraft spent nearly a decade volunteering as a CASA before joining the city council.
I wanted to be around children, and my kids had left home, and I was able to have cases that were given to me of children that needed some extra help. They had social workers, but social workers, as we know, are very overburdened.
The wonderful thing about Councilman Ashcraft on that case is she really observed, because this child was not verbal, she really observed his behaviors and realized certain sounds that he made had certain meanings, and that if he got very agitated, music helped him to calm down. So she used her observational skills to inform others on how to best support him, because he couldn't tell people what he needed.
Halderman says now is the perfect time to get trained to help the kids that really need a loving hand.
We're needing more volunteers, particularly volunteers of color and male volunteers and bilingual volunteers. I think if the people in the Torrance community want to, we have some kids here where their resource parents live in this area. We have kids that are waiting for somebody to step up like Councilman Ashcraft did, and give voice to that child, give voice to their needs, and help support our youngest and most vulnerable members of our community. You can make a difference. It doesn't matter your background. You don't have to be a social worker. You don't have to be a therapist or an attorney. You just have to be willing to show up and share your voice and your time with the child and their family to try to get them the support and the services that they need to thrive.
For more information and to get involved, go to casala.org. Well, that's our show for today. Let us know if you have a positive story to tell by emailing us at torrancetoday@torranceca.gov. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here on Monday with more news from and for our Torrance community. Have a great weekend.